Okay, here we go. So today we're going to talk about the history of Twitter. Um, really, just to give you a background of why our group chose to look at Twitter um, alongside Hadoop, and just some of the reasons why data scientists use Twitter data nowadays to analyze trends, um, make remarks, make claims about what's going on in the industry or just what's going on in the real world. Um, yeah, Twitter is a very, very useful platform to bring out trends and just what's going on in the world. So we're gonna dive first into just the origins of Twitter. So Twitter began in 2016, excuse me, 2006 in March, and it officially launched in July of that year. Um, their main headquarters are in San Francisco, California, with multiple offices elsewhere in the world, totaling 25. So the original intention of Twitter um, was to really be a platform for friends to keep in touch through status updates. And the founder, Jack Dorsey, thought, using the method of SMS, or as we like to call text messages, would accomplish that. So, say for example, you're looking to text your friend about what's going on in life. Um, Jack's idea was, you know, once you send that one text over to Twitter, then everyone that uses Twitter and follows you will be able to understand or just see what you're up to through a status update. So that's the original intent of Twitter. Today, Twitter has really evolved through the years. Uh, it's been 13 years now uh, that Twitter came about, and now it's become an online social networking platform where you and I can share messages through direct contact, direct communication. Um, Friends can still share social updates and start dialogue through that. Two, there's a form of breaking news and just what's going on from a live feed perspective. And so I saw a tweet the other day where police officers or even fire trucks are police or fire departments are tweeting out what's going on in the area. So I think a tweet would look like, oh, your neighborhood, there's an accident or there's a fire going on. Steer clear of this way if you want to avoid traffic. So that's one way that Twitter serves a purpose for those that use it. And then lastly, it's a way to keep up with the important people of the world. So think presidents across the world. So President Trump uses Twitter for his unfiltered thoughts. Um, Sports stars of all kind, they also use Twitter to inform people of what's going on in their lives. If a superstar that you love in sports, they get injured, um, they may share some injury updates through Twitter. And so there's just a multitude of ways in which Twitter is useful for interacting, for sharing news, and also to just really keep up with certain, I guess, public figures that we enjoy or have interest in. One thing that I didn't mention here is that it's not only limited to people, but it's also inclusive of businesses, um, as I mentioned before, fire and police departments. So really, anyone can be on Twitter. And so here's some very cool stats that I found, and really mind-boggling stats, really. So as of this year, 2019, Twitter claims to have 336 million monthly active users. And what that means is that their platform generates a lot of traffic. What that means is that there's a lot of activity on Twitter. People are very active. People are very involved and feel very connected through the Twitter application. And below you'll see here that there are 500 million tweets just in one day, and that is a lot of tweets. So tweets is just how people are sharing their news or sharing their status updates. And so I think 500 million tweets a day, that's a lot to kind of look at and understand. Oh shoot, there's this going on here, there's this going on here, this person is doing this person is doing that. And so Twitter is just a platform where people and also places can share what's the latest and greatest. And so I shared a lot about how Twitter is just so data heavy. And if you watch the Hadoop videos from before, Hadoop is very good at storing data files, data formats, just anything with tons of data. You can think of Hadoop as a perfect partner to kind of decipher that data and to really dig into that data. And so, how we're going to do that is our group will be tapping into the Twitter API, which is the storing house, if you will, of Twitter. And so all the tweets that are generated on a daily basis is stored in that same API. And so we're going to tap into that using uh, a tool that Hadoop has called Flume. And so what happens in the flow is that Flume taps the API, the Twitter API to be more specific, and then it runs through this channel where the API is sourced to a Twitter source, and then it goes to a memory channel, and then a Hadoop distributed file system sync, and then that syncs into the distributed file system itself, and that is how Hadoop grabs Twitter data directly from the Twitter API. And so, why this would be useful is if a data scientist like yourself is looking to create a project around, fake news. There's a big controversy in 2016 where the presidential election was heavily tweeted, and so perhaps that is something that someone may be interested in if online social platforms or Twitter specifically had any influence on voters who, might be heavily involved with Twitter itself. As I mentioned before, there's 336 million uh, monthly active users in Twitter. And so if, there were tweets about Clinton or Trump, and that is something that someone can look into Twitter and kind of analyze what were the trends for a certain presidential candidate in a positive light or a negative light. And so our group's goal is to really educate and teach how to set up Hadoop, number one, which we have done already, and then two, how we can tap into the Twitter API using Hadoop and the tools that it offers, such as Flume. And The analysis tool that we'll be looking at later will be Apache Hive or Hadoop Hive, where we'll be able to analyze and just run queries off of the Twitter API data, which we have successfully dumped into our distributed file system. Great. So that is the why Twitter piece. And so we're going to look at how we're going to do this on our operating systems. Thank you.